A brutal windstorm is passing through New Mexico as I start my journey in Roswell. It kicks dust up so high, it reminds me of Interstellar. Man, driving in this kind of high wind and dust, I feel like I'm in Interstellar and I'm in Matthew McConaughey's truck, all right, and I'm driving away from the dust storm trying to get home. Man, this is intense. Gusty winds are common in Roswell, New Mexico in the spring. The storm brings in 60 to 70 mile an hour gusts, but life in Roswell must continue. I park by the visitor center and admire their brand new rocket sculpture as I head into Martine's Capital Cafe, which is a nice local spot if you're looking for some great Mexican food. So Martine's Capital Cafe is definitely a good place to check out if you're in downtown Roswell. It's just right there. It's a local place, very authentic, really good. Used to come here all the time when we lived here. Despite the windy conditions, people still show up to get some lunch here. So far, the chips and salsa are amazing. Gonna get the taco plate, of course, and then gonna hit that UFO research center and see what we can dig up. I feel like I'm going to be like Fox Mulder in there, uncovering secret files of UFO history. I wrap up my amazing taco lunch and decide to head out into the town a little bit to search for aliens. Or perhaps I'm just searching for answers to the great cosmic question itself. Are we alone in the universe? I venture onto Main Street so I can head into one of my favorite shops on the strips, Moonman Printing. I decide to check out some of their merchandise before I make my way over to the International UFO Museum. I look a little rough because of the wind outside, but I'm in one of the shops in town called Moonman Printing, and over the years he's gotten just really good. Everything in here is just really high quality. And every time I come in, it's funny because like the shirts get better, the inside of the store gets better, more modern, more clean, just a lot of really good stuff. Definitely a good place, and I like this design here. It has the Buc-ee's, and of course you have to have your "I was abducted" or "I was probed in Roswell" shirt. That's just one of the things you have to get here, but definitely a good shop to come check out if you are here. Boy, is it really windy today. So I do come back here for selling for my business, Conspiracy Corp. And I did set up for 2 days, but today the wind was just way too much. I'm like, my table's gonna blow away, so I'm just kind of hanging out, seeing if there's any probing that needs done or something. At the corner of Kitschy and Sci-Fi Fanatic, you find the International UFO Museum. Visited by over 200,000 people a year, it is the centerpiece of Roswell, New Mexico. A perfect place to explore for answers. Of course, the lighting in here isn't the best, but I have to come over to the little X-Files display since, it's really interesting. I had never watched the X-Files. Even when I lived here, I didn't watch the X-Files. Like, everybody said, oh, you should watch it. It wasn't until we moved to Tucson that I actually picked it up. And I was like, why have I never watched this? Like, this is really interesting. This is really cool. Like, Fox Mulder is just such an awesome character, and he just works so well with Dana Scully. But, and what was funny is our second son, I did convince our wife to give him a middle name Fox. More of a Woodland theme because our first son is Wolfgang and Elijah Fox. But I was like, it's Fox for Fox Mulder. Shh, don't tell her. When I arrived at the UFO Museum, they had said there was a guest speaker, and as I weaved through the halls, I heard a voice that was very familiar.
It was none other than Don Schmitt, who has written multiple books on Roswell, been in multiple UFO programs, and was also in the most recent episode of Unsolved Mysteries on Netflix about Roswell. I couldn't believe my eyes, and I did get to chit-chat with him. Showed him some of my Roswell pictures, and he was very impressed. That was very cool.
So the UFO Museum here has really stepped up its game over the last few years. When it started, kind of early on, it was really small, and if you go back and look at some of the reviews, a lot of unhappy people. There's just like, oh, it's just like newspaper clippings on pegboard or whatever. And I understand they were just starting out. It took time to, bring in visitors because before the 90s, there was nothing alien here in Roswell at all. It just didn't exist. And then it all hit by storm. But they repaved the floors, they added in like more displays and electronic things for families and kids to do, more information, more quality displays, and they just made it more fun. And it's only $7 to get in, so that's really not that bad, but the gift shop is extensive. I still recommend going to Hangar 209 if you're going to get gifts, or Moonman Printing, he has really good stuff, but Hangar 209 definitely for your gift shop here. If you really want to sit and comb through things at the research center, sure, but a lot of information here, and they have definitely stepped up their game since, the old times, so. Truth is out there, my friend. Of course, I waited for the UFO display to do its moving. Everybody's always impressed with that. Like I said, as somebody who was a local here for 2 years, it's like, yeah, it spins and it moves, but it's still pretty cool. Pretty soon, though, I'm going to head out into the research library, and we're going to see what mysterious files we can uncover. I'm going to pretend I'm the real-life Fox Mulder researching the UFO crash in Roswell. I mean, literally, like, every X-Files episode has something about Roswell in it somewhere. It's still pretty cool. I'm a nerd, so, what are you going to say?
I finally head into the research center to see what I can uncover. The research center is actually well worth a visit as it's well decorated and contains loads and loads of juicy information on government cover-ups and aliens. As I dig through the files, I feel like a researcher trying to figure out the mysteries of the universe.
They literally have news reports from back in the day, old newspaper clippings. There's probably years and years and years worth of reading that you could do here at the International Research Center, and that's exactly why it's titled this way. And a day like today's not a bad day to do it because it's like 50-mile-an-hour winds and cold, so why not read about UFO lore all day, right? Truth is out there. I can be quiet about the things I've seen, but not for much longer. No government agency has jurisdiction over the truth. I, Agent Fox Mulder, will expose these governmental lies and expose the truth. Me and Dana Scully.
I wrap up playing X-Files in the research center and head back into the blustery day. As far as the mystery of what happened here in Roswell, New Mexico, it will remain unsolved.
So I'm just kind of finishing up hanging out today, but one little thing I wanted to mention that makes Roswell especially cool is just because it's like this old farming town in the middle of nowhere, and it has this UFO lore that just hangs over the town and makes it mysterious. And this little grain silo here and this building by the railroad tracks where there's probably a lot of stuff going on back in the day now is since abandoned. And that kind of like rustic old, railroad area, like it just kind of like is cool, I mean, even though it's abandoned and, rusted, it just looks cool and it just gives off a really mysterious vibe. But, of course you would have, an old cow town with a UFO history, like what's else is a surprise. But it was an interesting day. It was really cool to see the guy in the museum. I showed him some of the pictures I've taken. He actually thought they were really cool, which was nice. But yeah, he was on the Unsolved Mysteries and some other UFO programs. I think his name's Don Schmitt. So that was pretty cool. But I was just kind of hanging around, and it's a real windy day, kind of cold. I think I'm about to head on in for the rest of the day, and then I'll be back out tomorrow to promote my business, Conspiracy Corp, a little bit more before headed back to Tucson. But appreciate you guys for joining me. Of course, I'm alive in Tucson, but right now I'm alive in Roswell. So hopefully I don't get abducted tonight because I got to get home, see my family. We'll see you next time, and remember, truth is out there.